Hi, my name is Lauren and I am from Sussex in England. Today I'm going to be talking to you about journeying from pain to purpose. I'm going to combine a little bit of my story with some knowledge and information and tools to help you on your journey too. So first off, I'm going to ask you a question. How do you respond to life's trials? Do you get stressed, sad, perhaps even depressed? And how do you want to respond? Do you want to be more resilient, have more strength, have a complete and utter trust in God? If you said yes, then listen on. I'm going to talk about submission, limiting beliefs, resilience, confidence, and purpose. Are you ready? So the beginning of this journey began with pain. So when I was 14, I began fainting. I would have 3 to 10 episodes a day, and this would last days, weeks, months, and sometimes years. It would come and go in seasons, and I was in and out of hospital having tests after tests done, and they didn't come back with anything. Then in 2002, I tried to take my own life. 2 years on, I gave my life to Jesus. Now, after this, life was not a bed of roses. I experienced poverty, homelessness, a codependent relationship. But two beautiful things that came out from this were my children. Fast forward to 2017, I felt good. I'd not long been a single mum. I was working for a Christian charity. I'd finally been able to do my driving lessons because the fainting had stopped long enough. And I passed my test. I was driving for 3 months. The kids were happy. I was happy. Everything seemed great. And then bam, I had another episode. I fainted again and I ended up on the cardiology ward for a week. As a result of this, the cardiologist told me, or my consultant told me, that I couldn't drive anymore. I went on sick leave from work and eventually they asked me to resign. Then a month later, the consultant gave me a diagnosis. Finally, they called it neurocardiogenic syncope. But he also told me that there wasn't a cure or treatment for it. Cue another bout of depression. Why though? Because things were out of my control. I felt useless, vulnerable, helpless, hopeless. I felt sorry for myself. I couldn't do everyday things that I wanted to do or I should be doing. My daughter had to care for me. She was cooking, cleaning, she was helping me in and out of the shower, just sitting up. Or every time I stood up or sitting at the dinner table, I would just pass out. There was nothing I can do about it. And I began self-harming. The thing is, I felt like a burden. I felt like I was a useless mother. I couldn't do things that I wanted to do or felt that I should be doing as a mum. I needed help from others, but I didn't want to ask them. I felt alone, and yet I wanted to be alone. Can anyone relate to these thoughts and feelings? Of feeling useless, of feeling like things are out of your control. feeling of being stuck, that pain, that grief, depression. Do you experience them? Do you want to get out of that place? After a period of time of me feeling like this, I wanted to get out of that place. I wanted out. I was fed up of feeling the way I was feeling. And so one day I threw myself to the ground. I cried my eyes out, poured my heart out to God. I told him how I was feeling, the frustration, the loneliness, the loss of my freedom, grief. The list went on. I then asked him to relieve me of this pain. I asked me to take me out of this world or to help me in it. I was ready to give up myself, my wants and my longings, and give it all to him. We need to give up ourselves and ask him into our lives. We need to turn our focus onto him, off of our pain, off of our wants and our longings, off of our limitations, and onto him. And that's what he wants us to do as well. We need to get in the car and change paths with him right here in the passenger seat. It's about building a relationship with him. And how do we build relationships? It's a two-way street, isn't it? God is always there for us. He wants us to come to him. It's about conversation. If you're having a conversation with someone, you don't just talk at them. You stop, you listen to them, and you respond to what they're saying too. And this is what it's like with God. Don't just pray and talk at him. We need to stop and listen to what he's saying to us and act on that too. We can do this right at the beginning of our day. What's the first thing you do when you wake up? Pray? Have a coffee? Maybe pick up your phone and check the notifications? I have developed a new start of the day routine which potentially changed my life. I say I developed it. It wasn't a natural thing for me to do at the beginning, but now it is. So before I even open my eyes when I wake up in the morning, I'm praying to him. I'm talking to him. I'm saying good morning. And then when I do open my eyes, I read the Bible. I read his word. Now, this might not be easy to start off with, but the more you practice it and force yourself to do it, then habits can be formed. The more you repeat something enough, it becomes second nature. And how you start your day can influence your whole day and your whole being. And it can be the start of building up resilience too. Now, resilience is an important part of life as it helps us to deal with trials and storms and situations that get thrown our way. Because to be honest, we're on this earth and we will experience these. So building up our resilience is important, and we can do this with Jesus. We know in our minds that God is with us in the valley. We know that he comforts us through storms. We know that he lifts us up and he gives us strength. But do we know this in our hearts? By reading the word of God, we can learn about him and come closer to him. And by doing this, he becomes our resilience. We start to know his peace. not just at the good times, but when life is hard too. It's the image of building the house on the rock. That verse is in Matthew 7. So the rock, Jesus, our faith is our resilience. Building resilience is also how we interpret a situation. Do we see our situations as being disempowering? Do you feel resentful, sad, stressed, guilty? So we can turn these situations around to them becoming more empowering. Ask yourself these following questions. Is there anything else? Is there anything else going on in this situation? What can I learn from this? What meaning or purpose does it have? How can I use this for good? Take some time looking at past situations and answering these questions. By doing this, this will help you to gain a new and empowering perspective. So now I'm going to talk to you about limiting beliefs. So those times when I was feeling ill, I felt like I couldn't do anything. But it turns out I had a choice. I had a choice in what I was thinking. I had a choice whether I was going to think about my restrictions and limitations and feel sorry for myself. Was I going to focus on those things? Or was I going to turn my focus around, my intention onto something else? In this case, Jesus. We can train our minds to think differently. We have a choice of what we're thinking. So is your mind full of negatives? Or is your mind full of Christ? We can make these steps in a few different ways. So firstly, we can become thankful. Learn gratitude. Thank God for the good in this life or the world, even if it feels like you're at rock bottom, there is always something to be thankful for. Even if it's the birds in the trees, nature, perhaps it's the roof over our heads, or even his amazing grace. I'm going to challenge you to write down 3 things that you are thankful for each day. The next, I have a little activity for you. Now, it's called 7-Day Reminders. I did this activity and wow, did it change my life. And I rave about it all the time. I talk about it with my clients. It helps you to change that thought process, that perspective. So let's just jump straight in. So you're going to need a pen, a pencil, and some paper. So firstly, you're going to take your pencil and we're going to identify those lies. Things that you tell yourself, that voice in your head that says, I'm stupid, I'm useless, I'm not good enough. And write them down in pencil, leaving 2 or 3 lines in between each. So write them all down. Then you're going to take your pen and we are going to write a positive statement. Now, positive statements don't include the words don't, no, not. It's a positive statement, therefore use positive words. So for instance, use the example, I am stupid. We don't write, I am not stupid. We write, I am intelligent in many ways. See? So we do this and write 2 or 3 positive statements to counteract that one for every limiting belief that you have written down. Now, after you have done this for 7 days, I want you to read from the top of the paper to the bottom of the paper every day. So this could take you 30 seconds, a couple of minutes. What's a couple of minutes a day for 7 days or 14 days by the time I finished? What's that when this little activity could change your entire way of thinking and potentially change your life? So what you're going to do now is for 7 days, read the page from top to bottom, put it somewhere where you're going to remember. I used to put mine in my laptop, stick it on your kettle, like somewhere where you can see it. You can go through it every day. It's important you do. And then after 7 days, I want you to take your eraser and rub out the penciled statements. So you're rubbing out all the lies. And for another 7 days, I want you to read from top to bottom. Excuse me. So once you have finished those 2 weeks, you would have changed your thinking and your thought processes. Now, the reason we start off by reading the negatives by the positives is that one day in the future, you might suddenly hear that voice again saying, I'm stupid. Now, when that happens, because we've read the negative and the positive, our brains should automatically remember those positive statements after you've heard that negative one. Do you see? Okay, great. So next, I'm going to talk to you about confidence. So what do you think the definition of confidence is? Confidence equals competence. So the more capable or competent we are at something, the more confident we are at it. So the more we practice something, the more we learn something, the more confident and competent we get. So what areas are you wanting to grow your confidence in? Is it mindset? Doubt? Action? Is it social? Is it fear? Is it your self-talk? Once you know where the problem lies, you can begin to address and overcome it. So if you're wanting to develop personal confidence, then practice it. Remember that saying, fake it until you make it? Now, side note, I don't believe in that, because being fake is a form of lying. So any other area of your life, then no. But with this area, it works. I'm going to explain this a bit more to you now. So the more you repeat something, the chances are it could become a habit or truth. So we pretend. That's what I mean by being fake. We pretend. So pretend. If you're nervous and shy, pretend that you're not. If you feel vulnerable, pretend you're not. Pretend you're confident. If you're quiet and reserved, pretend you're the opposite. So you need to practice. Practice positivity, assurance, certainty, and believe in yourself. Believe in God. We can do all things through him who strengthens us. It's from Philippians 4:13. Meditate on this verse. Speak positive biblical affirmations over yourself. Again, repetition. Over time, you will develop a belief in what you are saying and who you are. You need to speak it to believe it. So I've developed a few positive biblical affirmations that you can say, but you can create your own, but I'm just going to start you off. So I am chosen. That's from 1 Peter. You've got, I am a conqueror. It's Romans 8. I am wonderfully made. It's from Psalms 139. I am powerful with God. It's 2 Timothy. So practice these daily. Make a note on your mirror or as a screensaver. This is what I had to do. It was a process, a journey, and it still is. But through repetition, what I had in my head went to my heart, and I began to truly believe it. Do you know that song, I Have Confidence, from The Sound of Music? Now, if you haven't seen it, don't worry, but you could search the video up. So when I was working in sales, I didn't have a lot of confidence. So on my way to work, I started singing this song. Now, I'm not going to sing it. I'm going to read it though. So it goes, I have confidence in Jesus. I have confidence in God. I have confidence that he is with me, and now I will see that I have confidence in God. It's silly, I know, but it worked. It helped me. So as a result of this journey, his purpose for my life was revealed. It certainly wasn't what I had planned, but it was his plan. It was even better than my plan. Yes, I may still have this diagnosis and I am limited in what I can do, but that is not my focus. My focus is on God and this ministry that he's led me to build. Looking back, everything I have learned and overcome was and is part of my journey. My mess became my message and my pain became my purpose. And you know what? You too, by going through this journey, will grow in your relationship with God. You will build resilience against what life throws at you, and you can discover the purpose that God has for your life. Are you ready to take this journey? Thank you.